Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Questbound Reader. Guys, all right, so I lied. Last video, I said I was going to read up until book like 3 or 4 of He Who Fights with Monsters, and I didn't do that. Um, I am actually now on book 8. I have a problem. I couldn't stop reading. I had to keep reading. I read like 5 books in a week. Um, I just really like the series. I don't know what I like about it so much. There's nothing spectacularly different about it, but it just hits all those things that I need from a progression fantasy show or a series, and it does it well. And I like that. I like the consistency that this series has. I was very nervous, right? Because a lot of people said that the series got worse as they kept reading. And I did not find that to be true at all. If you haven't figured out what I'm talking about He Who Fights with Monsters. And in this video, we're going to be covering 4 books. And that's going to be books 3, 4, 5, and 6. At the recommendation of Brian from BellTube, I'll tag him under. He's great. Check out his channel. He said that it's by arcs, and books 4, 5, and 6 are a different arc. If I'm not mistaken, it was 4, 5, and 6, or 3, 4, 5, and 6. And after that, a new arc starts. So I decided to just read up to 6, and then when I got to 6 and I finished it, I was like, I need to know what happens. I need to continue this. So I read 7, and then after I read 7, which I read yesterday, the entire book, I read it yesterday. I was like, okay, well, now I need to read 8. You might be wondering, how is this guy reading 5 books in a week? I've never done that before in my entire life, especially for 600-page books. These are not the smallest books ever. Um, I have no idea. I'm just really into it, and I'm staying up late reading these books, and I'm waking up early reading these books, and I'm reading these books whenever I get a chance. Um, which I need to calm down. I need to slow down my pace. But I'm almost at the end, right? There's only 10 books out, with the 11th and final book coming out later on in the summer. And I think in about 2 months it comes out, or at the end of July maybe. So I'm really excited to finish this series. And I don't know. I'm just really liking it. So let's give you a recap of what He Who Fights with Monsters is about. You have our main character, Jason. And Jason was, via a ritual by some cannibal cultists, transported to this magical world called Palimustus. Palimastus? No, you figure that out. It's a funky name. Anyway, it's not Earth, and there's magic. There's magical creatures, there are magical terrains, there's everything magical, everything you would want in a fantasy world. My last video, I titled it, Is This Monster Hunter? Because it feels like Monster Hunter. If you've ever played Monster Hunter, you know that those games are amazing for the most part. There's 1 or 2 bad ones out there, but it was incredible. I loved the aspect of getting stronger by fighting these ridiculously powerful monsters, or these packs of weaker monsters that try to swarm you and overtake you whenever they get a chance. And I loved it. I really loved everything about it. I thought it was great. Um, I love the camaraderie in this show, and I'm going to keep calling it a show. It's a book. If I say show, you know what I mean. I love it. I love the brotherhood that you feel with all the characters, male and female. And I think it's beautiful. Um, I think I'm going to get into spoilers. And if you haven't read this book, well then maybe this video isn't for you, because these are like the middle books. Um, but stick around anyway, and get hyped for the series. It's a good series. So um, books 3, I have them here next to me, and I read them back to back to back. Um, so I'm gonna kind of recap all of these books in this video, and I'm not gonna specify which book covers what, because I don't want to ruin specifics in the books, but I will give you main points. So this is the official spoiler mark. Um, anyway, books at the end of book 3, something major happens, and Jason dies. Now you've probably noticed that Jason has died before. but this time he really dies, and he 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 comes back, not expecting to come back, but by via a deal by the great astral beings, which are the Reaper, the Builder, the World Phoenix, the main ones involved in this at least. And he is sent back into Earth. Now, this is a start. Him waking up on Earth is books 4, 5, and 6. And these books deal with his adventures on Earth with magic. Now, Earth, as you previously noted, if you take a look outside, has no magic. But in Jason's Earth, things are a little bit different. While there was no inherent magic that he knew in his 20 odd years of life prior to going to this magical world, he finds that now there are factions in the underground, hidden from everybody else, that have been dealing with magic since, you know, I think it was like the 12th or 13th century or something like that, 14th century. And it's so freaking cool because these three books are Jason and and a companion. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna ruin who the companion is because you're not gonna see it coming, um, until you get there, and you're gonna love this. But the companion is a friend, and this companion really helps Jason through the darkest moments on Earth. Um, Jason meets the first sister, which is the second in command to the World Phoenix, who's a diamond rank transcendent being, stronger than the majority of other diamond ranks in the entire universe. And she decides to help Jason for some reason. This guy is lucky. If it's not even the right word, he's gone through so much. This poor guy. Um, these books show you the greatness of humanity and the greed of humanity is what I'm going to say. Jason is tasked with a very small task, and that is that he has to save the world. He has to save Earth, and Earth is on the brink of destruction due to some magical event that have been happening. You find that there's a link between Jason's world and the world of his other companions, and that Earth is siphoning magic from this other world because of a mistake that or an intentionality that the builder created. Now, Earth, who was inherently non-magical, starts acquiring these properties, and the mantle protecting the Earth from magic is weaker. So it's unstable, is what I'm going to say. Um, and during the course of books 4, 5, and 6, Jason faces insurmountable odds, with companions to recover and save Earth. Now, that's not the only thing about these books. During these books, he has his reunion with his family, who thought he was dead. For all intents and purposes, he was dead. And Jason introduces magic to his whole family. And Jason provides essences to his family in order to make them magical as well and prepare them for the war that's coming on. Now, if this series wasn't cool enough, there are factions, each with different magical powers and stuff. But there's a vampire faction, and these aren't like the Twilight vampires who like sparkle and all that stuff. Right? These are like legit hardcore vampires trying to like kill you, suck your blood, take your power, take your life, get stronger by it, summon minions, and there are vampire wars with humanity, which is such a twist that I wasn't expecting, and I absolutely loved. It kind of reminded me of Empire of the Vampire. Um, the way some things are described. Anyway, Jason finds friends amongst the vampires. He finds friends amongst the humans, and he tries to save the world. Now, these factions are greedy and they want to take everything from Jason, and use all his secrets that he's acquired. Mind you, Jason arrives at Earth at bronze rank, which is a category 2 for Earth scales. We have in Palimpsest, we have iron, bronze, silver, gold, diamond. In Earth, we have category 1, 2, three, four, five, respectively. So Jason has to save the world, and he has no idea how he's going to do it. After many fights and growth and pain and suffering and death, because there is a lot of death in the millions in these books, but also personal and close deaths that I'm not going to spoil for you guys. Jason manages to hit silver rank, and he's gone through so much. You kind of feel for this poor dude. Um, he's faced insurmountable odds to get to where he's at, and now at the end of book six, we have the last fight, and the last fight is a big fight. Um, People die in this fight, but Jason somehow manages somehow to potentially save the world. And I'm not going to say anything more than that. You have to read the books. I think at the end of book six is really cool because then you see him traveling back to Palimastus with this companion friend for this long-awaited encounter with friends and family, hoping that they're all okay, which he has some assurances that they are. But Jason is also very scared because it's been 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, that he is on Earth. During the course of book four, five, and six, there's a 2 year period, and he's a completely different person now. He's gone through so many things, but he's trying to maintain his humanity, even though he's no longer human. He's trying to maintain who he is, and I respect that. I admire his relentless pursuit for, I don't want to say goodness because that's kind of corny, but for the safety of people, regardless of what happens to him. I admire Jason for that, and I think you guys should too. This series was it's very different than what I thought it would be. A lot of people said that the Earth arc was really boring and they didn't enjoy it, but I did. I enjoyed the reunion with family and friends. I enjoyed seeing them grow magically. I enjoyed the funny companions he makes on Earth, and I really enjoyed the wars. It had political aspects to it. If you guys like political fantasy, there were many political decisions in there within these factions and how to rule Earth and yada yada yada. And you see a lot of cool stuff. You see the power of these great astral beings coming into place. Anyway, I don't want to take up too much of your time. You guys got to read this. These books, books three, four, five, and six, have bumped up the series. Right, we're now at a very solid. I think we were at a 4.25 before. I think overall, right now we're at a very solid 4.5. Um, I don't want to get into book seven because I already read it, but I want to do book seven, eight, nine, and 10 in one video. I don't know that I'll be able to read all of them by the end of next week, which is probably when I'm going to release my next video. I think I'm like a quarter way through book eight already, but I don't know. It depends. Anyway, read these books. Tell me what you guys think if you guys have already read it. Comment below. Let's have a conversation about progression fantasy. Is this the progression fantasy you guys are looking for? If not, what don't you like about it? All right, guys, that's all for today. Stick around. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.